Okay, now we are on record. So as I was saying that verbal reasoning का मतलब ये होता है that obviously there will be an aspect of critical reasoning in this embedded with the reading comprehension part. So सीधी सी बात है, क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग का जो भी टेम्पलेट है वो टेम्पलेट भी अपने पास है, अपने को पता है क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग में होता क्या है। जनरली मैं हम लोग इस पे बहुत डिस्कशन कर चुके हैं कि क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग में क्या करना होता है। आपको एक लेट्स से एक आपको पैसेज गिवन होता है और इस पैसेज से आपका काम होता है आर्ग्यूमेंट को समझ के मेन आइडियाज तक पहुंचना। ठीक है, अगर आपको ये चीज समझ में आ गया है कि मेन आइडिया हिंदी में किसे कहते हैं, ठीक है, अगर आई एम यूजिंग अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ हिंदी आल्सो, बट इफ यू नो व्हाट इज मेन आइडिया, कि बॉस घुमा फिरा के हम इतना, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स टेक एन हाइपोथेटिकल एग्जांपल, अगर मैं कहूँ शिव यू नो ये जो सड़कें हैं ना मेरे शहर के बहुत खराब है, मेरे शहर का जो लेट्स से यू नो वाटर ड्रेनेज है वो बहुत खराब है, मेरे शहर का ये है वो है, मैं बहुत सारा ये एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट ना प्रीटेक्स्ट बिल्ड बिल्ड करने के बाद अल्टीमेटली अगर मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ ना इस बार ना शिव मेरे को लग रहा है कि इलेक्शन में मैं इस मिनिस्टर को वोट नहीं दूंगा बिकॉज ऑफ दिस एंड दिस। सो मेन आइडिया ये है कि शायद मिनिस्टर को मैं वोट नहीं देना चाहता, और ये सारे जो भी सपोर्टिंग फैक्ट्स हमने बीच में डाले हैं ये सारे सपोर्टिंग फैक्ट्स हैं। तो उस आर्ग्यूमेंट को स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए, उस आर्ग्यूमेंट को वीकेन करने के लिए जो भी मैं फैक्ट्स बता रहा हूं वो काम में आ सकता है। ठीक है, तो इसीलिए कैट का जो रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन है ना, अगर किसी ने उसको मास्टर कर लिया तो फिर वो लिटरली, मतलब मैं मास्टर करने की बात कर रहा हूं, तो वो लिटरली कोई भी रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन आपको दे दे दुनिया का, आप उसको क्रैक कर सकते हो इंक्लूडिंग जीमैट। लेकिन इसमें एक फ्लिप साइड है, बहुत लोग कहते हैं कि सर जीमैट का रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन ये होता है, डिफिकल्ट होता है, ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है। एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट जीमैट का रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन एक्चुअली रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन होता है, इट इज नॉट लाइक द कैट वाला, कैट में तो बहुत ज्यादा दिखेगा मम्बो जम्बो। एनीवेज दो चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट है, पहले तो किस तरह से रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन पैसेजेस को अटेम्प्ट करना है। देखो एक तो इनके जो यहाँ पे आप क्लिक करोगे ना वीडियो सोल्यूशन पे, ये तो स्क्रीनशॉट है, बट अगर आप वीडियो सोल्यूशन पे क्लिक करोगे तो एक जो सर या मैम जो भी है वो तो अपना इनपुट आपको देंगे किस तरह से करना है, पढ़ना है, फलाना ढिकाना, ठीक है, तो वो तो अपने को देखना ही है। लेकिन हमारा पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ये होना चाहिए कि ये जो ये लोग लिख रहे हैं ना क्वेश्चन टाइप ए, याद करो वही हमने डिस्कस किया था, अभी करो बाद में करो छोड़ दो, एबीसी मेथड, तो वो कैटेगराइज करते हैं। कोशिश करना एबीसी मेथड को देखने से पहले अपने मन में एबीसी मेथड क्लियर हो जाए कि बॉस ये मेरे लिए एबीसी है या नहीं, एंड देन प्रॉब्ली आई कैन लुक एट इट। सारे क्वेश्चन नहीं करना है, जब आप टेस्ट लिख रहे होगे तो सारे क्वेश्चन नहीं करना है, लेकिन जब आप एनालाइज कर रहे हो ना तब थोड़ा अपने आप से सवाल करो कि क्या इस क्वेश्चन को छोड़ा जा सकता था, क्या किया जा सकता था, क्योंकि ये भी एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। जस्ट बिकॉज कि नहीं एक बार ट्राई करके देखते हैं ना, क्वेश्चन तो है अच्छा व्हाट इज योर बेस्ट पिक, तुम्हारा बेस्ट पिक क्या है, वो सब मैं कर सकता हूं, बट एज अ स्टूडेंट यू शुड बी लाइक कि ठीक है आई विल बी लीविंग आउट दिस क्वेश्चन एंड इट इज कंप्लीटली फाइन, बट शुड कम बैक एंड ट्राई एंड अंडरस्टैंड दैट व्हाट वेंट रॉन्ग विद दैट क्वेश्चन, देयर इज अ पैसेज इन दिस। हम कोशिश करेंगे कि सारे पैसेजेस को देख लेगा, and we will start. This is actually simcat 2, mind you, this is not simcat 1, this is simcat 2. So we'll start off by the first passage. Generally what I do, you probably would not be able to do this right now, maybe you can do it also, I don't know, but what I do is I see how many paragraphs are there, so I see 3 paragraphs are there, और किसी किसी में ऐसा भी होगा ना कि कहने को तो 4 या 5 पैराग्राफ्स है लेकिन उसमें 3 पैराग्राफ्स बड़े वाले, मतलब जिसमें आपको डेटा मिलेगा, और 2 छोटे छोटे पैराग्राफ्स मिलेगा, तो उनको सेपरेट पैराग्राफ्स मानने के बजाय आप एक ही पैराग्राफ मान के भी आगे बढ़ सकते हो, तो वो आपके ऊपर है, doesn't really make a lot of difference. But one thing that I definitely do, I try to do a lot, sometimes I know I'm not able to do that, is read the question, not the options but read the questions. So we'll read the questions. Why am I saying this, reading the questions? Because it gives you some amount of an anchor where you can go into the passage, and in your mind it will also tell you that what are maybe important pointers, what are important highlights. Otherwise you will have to come back at the passage again and again, again and again. There's no problem in it, it's just that you will be spending a lot of time, you'll be wasting a lot of time. Again, a very important thing, Shiv, I would like to say that whenever we are reading, try to like, I mean, I will again say this, probably while we are solving this, try to ignore the factual data.
हम्म
एग्जाम्पल दिस एग्जाम्पल दैट, वो है ना कि कोई आदमी अपना कथा कहानी सुना रहा है, उसको छोड़ना है, अपन आइडियाज पे फोकस करेंगे, आर्ग्यूमेंट्स पे फोकस करेंगे, ठीक है?
हम्म
बिफोर आई स्टार्ट विद द फर्स्ट पैसेज, ठीक है, दिस इज द फर्स्ट वन, वी विल ट्राई टू रीड इट टू, आई डोंट नो इफ आई कैन, इसको ये किया जा सकता है क्या, फुल स्क्रीन? नहीं, आई आई डोंट थिंक ये फुल स्क्रीन, हाँ हो सकता है यार,
उसको हाँ ये ऐसे हो सकता है.
हाँ, गुड. I'm keeping the OneNote with me because I'll be taking some notes, and I will be taking the notes with you. This is not I will
हम्म
give you not 5 minutes and then I will come back and we'll do a dis. No, we'll do it together. Actually, I have seen all the passages. I'll solve them also, but let's do it because you know this probably. And again, I'm not teaching. I'm not trying to teach you reading comprehension. I'm just trying to understand that what can go wrong and what we can do to better inter let's say interpret the data that is given to us. Okay, again, the first thing before we go, we read the first para. Maybe before that, we can read the questions. First question says, which of the following set of terms best encapsulates the keywords in the passage? Definitely, this is not for this. I need to read the passage. Like, you can say that this is a direct question, maybe. If you don't, अगर मेरे पास time कम है, probably I leave this question also. लेकिन
हम्म
this is not something that is giving me any anchor that I need to pay attention to. Question number 2. According to the passage, which of the following is not a challenge? Now, whenever I read this type of thing, now the thing that I do is that which of the following, what I will do is, which of the following is a challenge faced by traditional AI models? Acha, is a challenge not a challenge? So basically, all of them are challenges faced by the traditional AI. My answer is not a challenge. So I'm a little, I mean, I'm a little dumb that way. So I do this thing in my mind like this because sometimes ना, जब आप थोड़ा सा जल्दी जल्दी करोगे मॉक टेस्ट में, आपके पास टाइम कम होता है ना, ये नॉट दिखता नहीं है. ये मेरे साथ हो चुका है. एंड बिकॉज आई एम नॉट अ वर्बल फैकल्टी, मे बी जो वर्बल फैकल्टीज होंगे उनके पास कुछ टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स होगा, बट मुझे तो बहुत दिक्कत होता है, मैं ये नॉट मेरे से मिस हो जाता है क्योंकि मैं थोड़ा जल्दी पढ़ने के चक्कर में नॉट ही मिस हो जाता है. तो व्हाट आई वुड डू इज आई विल जस्ट read the sentence and then plug in the not. Which of the following is a challenge faced by traditional AI models? Not. So that means all of them are challenges. One is not a challenge, and that is my answer. Okay. Also, this doesn't give me an anchor point. So if you realize that this is actually seems like a easy passage in that sense कि मतलब मेरे को anchor का जरूरत नहीं है, मैं जल्दी पढ़ सकता हूँ passage को. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Which of the following is not mentioned in the passage as a benefit of Diloco? Now, this is giving me some information about a Diloco something. Now, I probably at the either I will write it somewhere that question number 3 mentions Diloco, so maybe I can write it that Diloco is an important something. I probably would want to come back at it. And then we have the last question, which of the following best captures the tone of the passage regarding the future of AI training? Now, this is obviously this is going to be easy for us, but let's see. Okay, we'll not read the options, but now we'll read the this thing. Okay, so the how do we do this? What I want us to do is probably just a second. My Discord is open. I guess I need to get rid of it. Yeah. Okay, so probably I will write para 1, para 2, and para 3, and I'll try to, let's say, write as less as I can and try to, let's say, put in whatever I can. Okay. So this is my first passage, that is the AI something. Let's read the first. Okay, I will shut up because I have read it. So I'll just shut up and I will ask you once you're done. So just tell me that when you're done, or maybe you can react with a thumbs up or whatever so that I know that you have read. Okay, I'll be quiet now. Shiv, are you done? Shiv, can you hear me? I think there is some audio connection. I think that there is some audio issue. I guess there is some audio issue. No, no, I cannot hear you. Not audible.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think that there was some. So I thought this taking a little bit more time. Okay, so your inference, first para. Again, the audio is out, I guess. Yeah, it's very feeble. Actually, I can hear you, but it's very feeble. Yeah, I mean, I think you are saying something, but it's very feeble. Can you see if it is the microphone, Shiv? It can be. Could it be the microphone?
So am I audible now?
I can hear you now.
So the first paragraph inference is that there's a competition going amongst the tech world and people around the world in creating an AI model using GPUs and
Dekho.
lot of.
Okay, hold on. I don't want this like line by line explanation. Let's.
Basically, in training AI, a lot of GPUs are being used, and a lot of
Yeah,
methods
yeah.
are
I
devised to
understood. I
offset
understood.
the challenges.
देखो, एक चीज जो हम थोड़ा सा नोटिस करते हैं, let's understand one thing. The first line introduces a very interesting scenario, which says that richest men of the world were competing on yacht, jets, and private island. Now the status symbol has changed to GPU clusters. Musk has some GPUs and plans to buy more. Zuckerberg is aiming for a humongous number. So all this is practically telling us that there is some importance that is going to be in and around this AI thing. Okay. Now, this quest for ever bigger computing setup cannot go on forever. I'm reading it again because I need to make sense of what is important and what is not. What one thing that I understood is now the main story starts. Each new chip not only adds to the processing power, so they are acknowledging that actually if you gather more GPUs, so probably these chips will add processing power but also increase the burden on keeping everything synchronized. Now probably this is going to be the central problem. If they're going to be talking about problem, that what is the problem, because आपको समझ में आ रहा होगा कि towards we are going towards a problem कि भाई अगर बहुत richest person है तो वो तो खरीद सकते हैं जीपीयू क्लस्टर्स, और वो तो चलो ठीक है कंप्यूटिंग पावर को बढ़ा देंगे, बट देयर इज अ बर्डन, एंड द बर्डन इज दैट इट increases the burden of keeping everything synchronized. All right, the more GPUs, the more time they waste shuttling data. Now this is a very interesting word. I'll tell you why I am saying that, because every time you're reading a passage na in the cat RCs, you will find these words. Contextual meaning निकालना इन words का बहुत जरूरी होता है, because अगेन आई एम रिपीटिंग माई सेल्फ, कॉन्टेक्चुअल मीनिंग निकालना इन चीजों का बहुत जरूरी होता है, बिकॉज टेक्स्ट बुक मीनिंग पता होना हर वर्ड्स का पॉसिबल नहीं है, तो कॉन्टेक्चुअल मीनिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. They are saying that GPUs are, the more GPUs there are, the more time they waste shuttling data around, and rather than doing the useful work. Instead, computer scientists are looking for cleverer ways to train new AI models without always resorting to these colossal installations. So what I have understood is that the author has started with an idea that there is actually a sort of a run that is going on in the billionaire clan, the richest people's clan, that they are hoarding GPU clusters. GPU clusters are actually helping them also, but the GPU clusters, as much as they help, if you keep on hoarding them, there is a problem, and that problem is that it increases the burden of synchronizing the it basically has a problem of synchronizing everything. Now probably they will give us the solution also. ऐसा हो ना सकता है कि अगर उसने प्रॉब्लम दिया है तो सोल्यूशन नहीं देगा, तो डेफिनेटली वो सोल्यूशन देगा. One idea is to abandon the bespoke clusters, again a very interesting word, bespoke clusters, with all their upfront costs, and instead distribute the task of training across multiple smaller data centers. Now probably, again I am hypothesizing because मैंने तो चलो पढ़ा है, but I am saying that I am hypothesizing. This is my solution. Problem क्या था? Synchronization problem था. Solution है smaller data centers. Probably some researchers see this as a step towards even bolder goal, training AI without any dedicated hardware at all. Now this is something that I have no idea कि इस line का मतलब क्या है. But at least now we know what the first para is talking about. They're talking about if I need to, let's say, write anything, probably I can, all that rich man, yacht, jets, private island, nothing is important. What I can say is that GPU clusters. अच्छा देखो, मैं एक चीज तुमसे गलती हो गया, मेरे से पूछना चाहिए था. What would you have written as your first, let's say, argument of the first para?
So that GPU clusters are being made for training AI, large GPU
हाँ,
clusters.
और हम इसको ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं कि ऐसे कर दिए, बून भी है यहाँ पे, बेन भी है, एंड आई होप यू नो व्हाट द बून एंड बेन इज. तो बून में आपको पता ही है कि इट बेसिकली एड्स टू द कंप्यूटिंग पावर, यू गेट अ लॉट ऑफ डेटा प्रोसेस्ड, बट देन बेन में आप लिख सकते हो शटलिंग में वेस्ट होता है, data shuttling or synchronization, whatever, है ना. Because see, you don't have to write things down, you just need to understand that I can go back also into the passage, but what is the main idea, what is the argument talking about? So
The explosion of GPU clusters to train AI, and the good thing about is that they can process or compute a lot of data in a short amount of time due to sheer numbers, and challenge is that they waste a lot of time in shuttling.
Perfect. So probably I can think of it as, again, I'm not here to say that mine is correct, your is wrong, nothing. मेरे दिमाग में ये चल रहा है अभी कि this is something about the GPU clusters. Maybe the GPU clusters are helping us with the AI thing. There is a boon and a bane. Boon is that it if you have a lot of GPU clusters, probably it will add to the processing power. If you have, let's say, and the bane to that and the problem to that is that it basically wastes a lot of time shuttling the data, synchronizing the data, thereby actually utilizing the processing power if we could do that. Now, a question that could come in my mind is that, sir, should we write the solution also? For example, what is the problem? We discussed the problem and we discussed the solution also. Should we write the solution? No. Why do you have to write so many things? It's just the ideas, the argument. This is the argument. Let's go to the next para. Okay, hold on. This much only. I hope we can read this. ठीक है. This is para 2. Okay, I'll start the timer also. Shiv, can you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But honestly speaking, it took a little bit more time for you. I mean, I am not expecting you to take 2 minutes. ठीक है. पहले तो मेरे को ये बताओ कि
Sir, I had
हाँ बोलो
given,
बोलो बोलो.
sir, I had given you a message.
अच्छा, मैसेज आया.
Uh,
No, you can directly unmute and start
I
talking.
thought that you were also reading the manual.
No, I was doing something else. Anyways, so 1 minute to 1.5 minutes is a very good time for us to read a para.
Yes.
And if it is taking मतलब अगर बहुत ज़्यादा jargonish words है और ज़्यादा time लग रहा है तो we probably will give it a little bit more time. But we should not be coming back at a same thing again and again. Probably that will keep a
Yes.
problem. The second para I don't think is very difficult. Let's read it. ठीक है ना? Training an AI model usually involving feeding it with data with some sections hidden. The model then guesses it what is missing. If it is wrong, it gets tweaked via back propagation. Now, if you understand this is how you train a AI model, so basically this is how you train a AI model. I don't need to training modern AI systems. Maybe I should, modern. You have to pay attention to these kind of words. A modern AI systems involves feeding it with data. Some sections are hidden. Then the model guesses it, what is missing. If the guesswork is wrong, then it gets tweaked via back propagation to inch closer to the correct answer the next time. So basically, they're telling you something related to how the training of the model is working in the AI this thing system. not important according to me, and I'm 100% sure you will also agree to me that this first two lines are definitely not that important.
Just expounding on the first paragraph.
Yes,
That
running. Yeah, now the main part comes in. Running these calculations on thousands of GPUs in parallel sounds efficient, but there is a catch: checkpointing. Now I would like to, encircle on this checkpointing for a specific reason, because अब जैसे उसने यूज किया है ये वर्ड चेक पॉइंटिंग, आई डोंट नो व्हाट चेक पॉइंटिंग इज, बट डू आई रियली नीड टू नो द मीनिंग ऑफ चेक पॉइंटिंग? एंड द आंसर टू दैट इज यस, I need to know the meaning, but the contextual meaning, not the textbook definition or the dictionary definition. Basically, the problem again, there is a problem in this para also. The problem is that if you carry out multiple calculations in parallel, on thousands of GPUs, it sounds efficient, it may be efficient, but there is a constant checkpointing. Now, what is that? Every chip shares update with others, and that devours half of the ट्रेनिंग टाइम. डिवॉर्स बेसिकली मतलब उसको खंडित कर देता है इन वेरी गुड हिंदी, या फिर आप ऐसे कह सकते हो कि उसको कंज्यूम कर लेता है, एज ए गुड वर्ड है ना, बहुत ज्यादा टाइम ले जाता है. सो दिस कैन डिवॉर. So somebody who's not very good with your RCs can probably get at this point probably get twisted at these words also. And anyways, this inefficiency led Arthur Dewlard, an engineer at Google DeepMind, to propose distributed low communication training of language model, or DLOCO. Now this is where DLOCO starts in. So my brain has this radars that is constantly beeping me कि अब थोड़ा स्लो डाउन करो और समझने की कोशिश करो कि प्रॉब्लम क्या था. अगर बहुत सारे जीपीयू क्लस्टर्स हम लोग यूज करेंगे एफिशिएंट हो सकता है. कैच ये है कि देयर इज अ चेक पॉइंटिंग, वेयर checkpointing is basically when the chips are sharing data with each other, which may be efficient, I don't know, but it devours a lot of training time. This inefficiency is corrected by DLOCO, and how it does, basically, instead of forcing the GPUs, thousands and 100,000 GPUs, to talk to each other at every step, breaks them down into islands, each self-contained data center with an island. Checkpointing proceeds as usual. मतलब कि checkpointing खत्म नहीं हो रहा है. Between the island, however, communication plummet, reducing the bottleneck 500 fold. So this is a very easy passage. I think the two paras that we read were just a lot of explanation and very less data as such, है ना. डेटा बहुत ज्यादा है ही नहीं, बहुत मस्त मतलब पैरा ये लगा मेरे को. तो शिव, अगर मेरे को पैरा 2 को अगर मेरे को लेट्स से आर्गुमेंट लिखना हो, तो व्हाट कुड बी माय आर्गुमेंट?
That the major problem with large clusters is checkpointing, and DLOCO has been made in order to make it more efficient, has been proposed to make it more efficient, to train AI models.
So thousands of GPU may, I mean, I don't know if I should do this again, but they may be efficient, maybe not efficient. No, efficient नहीं, हाँ ठीक है, efficient लिखते हैं. बिकॉज इफ यू सी ना, उन्होंने बहुत ही क्लेवरली एक जगह उन्होंने एफिशिएंट यूज किया है, एक जगह इनएफिशिएंसी यूज किया है. उसी प्रोसेस को एफिशिएंट भी बोल रहे हैं, उसी प्रोसेस को इनएफिशिएंसी भी बोल रहे हैं. तो यहाँ पे थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन, जो स्टूडेंट्स बहुत ज्यादा मतलब रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन नहीं करते हैं, उनको सबसे ज्यादा यही दिक्कत करेगा कि भाई एफिशिएंट क्या है और इनएफिशिएंसी क्या है. तो एफिशिएंट ये है कि थाउजेंड्स ऑफ जीपीयूज अगर पैरेलली काम करेगा तो दे कैन बी एफिशिएंट, but the only problem is that they will have a checkpointing. So the problem is that there is checkpointing. So but checkpointing, and I will write it in the language of the passage itself or the paragraph itself, not in my language, because I know I will have to come back to the para if I need it. ठीक है. एक्चुअली जब आप कैट में या मॉक टेस्ट लिखोगे तो आपका पैसेज यहाँ पे होगा, क्वेश्चंस यहाँ पे होते हैं. So you can definitely come to the passage while the question is right in front of you. So you don't really need to write so many things. But हाँ, कॉपी में कुछ चीजें लिख सकते हो, क्योंकि शिव एक चीज है ना, जब दूसरा या तीसरा पैसेज जब आप कर लोगे ना, तो उसके बाद दिमाग एकदम मतलब ठस हो जाएगा। तो दूसरे पैसेज का, पहला पैसेज का भी डेटा आपके पास है, तो इसीलिए डेटा को अपने दिमाग में रखने से बेहतर है कि थोड़ा सा कॉपी में अपन रख लेते, तो दिमाग फ्रीली काम कर सकेगा। ठीक है। So thousands of GPU may be efficient, but there is checkpointing, and the problem is getting solved by Diloco. Is this enough, or do I need to add something more?
So if we want, we can just add something more, that Diloco make islands, and that.
But Diloco is solving the problem. Nashiv, we can come back again.
That is all I said.
Other than this, I don't think we need to add anything. So let's go to the third para. I mean, it's okay if you want to add, you can add, but I want to reduce. This is probably shorthand. Not actually a shorthand per se, matlab ekdam perfect shorthand, but something that one of the very, very intelligent, a very intelligent GMAT guru. He's probably the GMAT ninja. He's a Ukrainian guy. I don't know. Anyways, what he said, na, when you are making your notes for reading comprehension or critical reasoning, you should not be able to understand the notes after a day. That means आपको टाइम बचाना है, आपको उस मोमेंट के लिए समझ में आना चाहिए कि आपने क्या लिखा है। मेरे नोट्स आपको नहीं समझ में आने चाहिए, आपके नोट्स मुझे नहीं समझ में आने चाहिए, और आपके नोट्स आपको भी नहीं समझ में आना चाहिए अगले दिन। मतलब जो जीमैट का ओजी, आई थिंक मैनहट्टन का जो जीमैट का बुक है, उसमें बोलते भी हैं पर्टिकुलरली कि इस तरह से शॉर्ट हैंड करो। बट एनीवेज, वी आर मच मोर, लेट्स से वी कैन डू मच बेटर। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। I think this is the last para, and probably I'll have to थोड़ा सा reduce करना पड़ेगा इसके size को। Okay, I will put it here. I'll get rid of this because now we know that 1.5 minute काफी है। ठीक है शिव, you can read this.
Models trained this way may be slightly less.
Let's start.
So I did it.
Okay. First impression is that a lot of tech heavy stuff is given there, but I think the main idea, or let's say the central idea, would not be far from our reach. So let's do it just for the sake of our reference, what we have been doing. So model trains this way. What way? डेफिनेटली क्योंकि हमने चंक बना दिए हैं, तो हो सकता है कि जब मैं ये सवाल खुद से पूछ रहा हूँ या तुमसे पूछ रहा हूँ कि मॉडल ट्रेंड दिस वे, व्हाट वे, तुरंत इसका आंसर नहीं है। बट व्हेन यू आर रीडिंग इट इन यूनिसन, व्हेन यू आर रीडिंग वन पैरा आफ्टर द अदर एंड आफ्टर द अदर, then you should have the answer that models trained in this way.
The model trained using islands or Diloco.
The island, this thing.
Diloco.
Yeah. So they will be slightly less fine-tuned for tasks that were tasks they were explicitly trained on. So Again, the word is maybe. Maybe. Why am I nitpicking? I'm nitpicking because the questions are like that. Okay, so you have to nitpicking karna padega, and this nitpicking will be there in data interpretation, logical reasoning also. Anyways, but they often generalize better when confronted with new problem. Again, model trained with the Diloco method, the island method, may be slightly less fine tuned for task. अच्छा, जब आप खुद से भी पढ़ो ना, इस तरह से पढ़ने की कोशिश करना, लाइक अपने आप को समझाने की कोशिश करना, चीज आ जाएंगी. Maybe slightly less fine tuned for tasks that were explicitly trained on, but they often generalize better when confronted with new problems. So when new problems come in, then they are basically they generalize better. Now again, the problem is, what is this generalize? Okay, I don't know. And let's go ahead. Freed from incessant synchronization, each island explores the training data in its own way before being pulled back in line. Weiser, founder of the open source AI lab Intellect, sees on Diloco to train a 1 billion by 1 billion parameter model को ये सब मेरे काम का नहीं है. I can actually read through this very quickly. So Weiser, founder of Open Lab AI Prime Intellect, sees on Diloco to train Intellect 1, a 10 billion or let's say 10 billion parameter model comparable to Meta's Llama 2. What his team did, use 30 smaller GPU cluster in 8 cities across 3 continents. Instead of checkpointing on every training step, they did it for 500 step, quantize the shared update, throwing away the least significant data. Again, this is a little heavy, text heavy, so यहाँ पे मैं जल्दी नहीं पढ़ सकता हूँ. Probably I'll have to read a little slowly. कि क्या किया उसने 30 स्मॉलर क्लस्टर उठाया 8 डिफरेंट सिटीज में अक्रॉस 3 कॉन्टिनेंट्स में उसने शेयर किया. इंस्टेड ऑफ चेक पॉइंटिंग ऑन एवरी ट्रेनिंग स्टेप 500 स्टेप्स पे किया एग्जैक्टली व्हाट डिलोको वाज सपोज्ड टू डू एंड देन क्वांटाइज द डेटा. This meant the GPU worked productively most of the time, even when scattered across the globe. For labs, अच्छा, यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा इंपॉर्टेंट मुझे लग रहा है. The GPUs worked productively most of the time, even when scattered across the globe. Initially, अच्छा, हमने स्टार्ट किया गया था शिव, हमने किस आइडिया से स्टार्ट किया था कि मेरे को जो अमीर लोग हैं, जो बिलियनर्स हैं या जो भी रिचेस्ट मैन है, वो क्लस्टर क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, मोर लाइक आइलैंड क्रिएट कर रहे हैं जीपीयूज का. यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, डिलोको के साथ जब लास्ट पैरा में हम यहाँ पे एक बहुत ही कॉन्ट्रारियन चीज होता हुआ देख रहे हैं. क्या है वो कॉन्ट्रारियन चीज? कि GPU clusters were actually in 8 cities across 3 continents. So they were not clustered, they were actually scattered across the globe, and yet they produced productive work most of the time. ठीक है? For labs that have now, for labs that already have vast data centers, switching to distributed training may not be urgent. मतलब maybe for Facebook and Meta you don't have to do that. Yet Dewlard believes this approach will catch on given how much it cuts cost and complexity. So he is optimistic that if this catches on, this will catch on. What he thinks, believes that this approach will catch on, and given how much, why it will catch on, because it cuts on the cost and the complexity. Complexity may be building the clusters. Cost, because हमने शुरुआत में ही पैसेज में ये चीज डिस्कस किया था दैट ये कॉस्ट इंटेंसिव है, क्योंकि बिलियनर्स ही अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं ना, जैसे 300,000 GPU clusters. But let's say if you are a computer science engineer, you are not a billionaire, so you may not be able to hoard 500,000 this thing. Let's read ahead. For smaller outfits, the benefits are immediate. Since vast GPU farms are rare and expensive, that means there is a positive for the smaller outfits also. We know who we are talking about, the small computer science engineers, or maybe small companies, not the Metas or the Facebooks of the world. The dream of fully decentralized AI goes further still, eventually tapping into billions of consumer devices. Probably at this point they are talking about the mobile phones. I don't know, maybe I'm just extrapolating my thought that maybe they don't even want GPU cluster, they want to utilize on the power of the people and the processes that they have in their pockets, basically the cell phones or whatever, something, consumer devices. If the tricky engineering can be mastered, model might even improve. This model, which was productively most of the time, probably even improve. Learning more from diverse data with fewer synchronization demands. And last is a basically a kind of a sarcastic tone. Then the billionaires may have to find something else to measure. Basically, they will have to they'll have to find something else to munch on. So now with time, we have basically reduced the that shine of those GPU clusters as well. This was a very good one. But before moving on, I want to write something on the para 3. So what should I write?
So basically, they're saying.
Hold on. Don't go back to the passage. What do you think of the para? And agar
Para. So
हाँ,
it basically gives an idea that how things are changing with Deloco and how further it can change with decentralized consumer devices. And the central theme is of the whole passage, three passages, I think, is that since we have just started out with AI models and training, so large GPU clusters, as people are realizing, it is rudimentary in nature and they will change. They will not exist probably. Decentralized AI.
decentralized AI
AI training.
may be future. Okay, not immediately required. The current existing setups are helpful enough, but if they
Improve upon this.
yeah, if they improve upon that, that will be a very good this thing. So again, this is a very text heavy passage, और इसमें से क्या ही आप argument निकालोगे? So ऐसा ही कुछ argument निकाल सकते हो. Again, Shiv, the point is that when I'm tired, I should just come back to this thing. क्योंकि क्या होगा ना, जब आप टेस्ट लिख रहे होगे, देखो, I want you to be a 99 percentiler in VRC. I want myself also to be a 99 percentiler in VRC. तो क्या होता है ना, जब आप पैसेज, ये तो पहला पैसेज आपने पढ़ा, आपके पास बहुत टाइम है, आपने एक पढ़ा, आपने कुछ क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किया, आप चले गए, ठीक है, आपने एक घंटा लगा करके सारे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, आपके पास बहुत टाइम है. लेकिन व्हेन यू आर सॉल्विंग इट इन अ टेस्ट सेटअप ना, तो ऐसा नहीं होगा कि इसके बाद जो सारे क्वेश्चन है सारे आप सॉल्व कर पाओगे. मे बी एक या दो क्वेश्चन करने के बाद आपको नहीं समझ में आया एंड यू हैव लेस टाइम, सो मे बी दो क्वेश्चन के बाद मैं किसी दूसरे पैसेज में चला जाऊंगा. बट when I come back at this passage, I have the arguments with me, so maybe my subconscious brain has also had some time to work, and maybe I can now put in some fresh perspective into the picture. So now let's do one thing. Let's go back to the questions and try and understand, or maybe try and answer the question. So this is the fourth question actually. Question number 1. Acha, for this na, if you need to go back to the passage, just tell me.
Yes, sir. So I think B होगा इसका आंसर.
Okay, so okay, more than what is the answer, what is not the answer. So elimination is what I would prefer most of the time. I know and I will repeat myself, I know that some of the times there will be a pick me answer, that please pick me, please pick me, it will be shouting at your face. At that point also I would still say that if you can eliminate, it would be very good. So option number A we are eliminating, because why?
So GPU parallelization and synchronization, they are like not that important things.
Achha, one more thing, when we are talking about which of the following set of terms best encapsulates the key words of the passage, okay, I will tell you my thinking, but then probably before that I will ask you to say what you are saying, because otherwise I will probably give away some of my inference. So GPU parallelization and synchronization is not important, you're saying.
Not that important.
But then it's okay na, GPU parallelization is happening, GPU synchronization is also happening. There is a language model, and we are also talking about the cost reduction.
So, but like,
And what is this
but
monolithic data center?
the main problem which uh, with with is happening is the checkpointing thing, not these things. In,
Yeah, maybe you are right, and maybe the pick me is a little strong, but I have a little bit of a problem with this monolithic data center. Now please you tell me, you should have seen that there are, monolithic data center, ये 2 बार यूज हुआ है. अब मेरा प्रॉब्लम यही था, जब मैं इसको पहली बार देखा तो मैंने एलिमिनेट इसको सिर्फ मोनोलिथिक डेटा सेंटर के बेसिस पे कर दिया था, क्योंकि इन माय माइंड आई थॉट कि मोनोलिथिक डेटा सेंटर जैसा कुछ हमने पढ़ा नहीं है वहां पे. Probably they are trying to make you visualize the Stonehenge, the big clusters and whatnot. I understand that, but then what is the significance of monolithic data center, and that too towards the end? What is monolithic data center?
so monolithic, probably they're talking about big GPU clusters, I guess.
हो सकता है, but again, this is
Not been told that like that. Like
हाँ.
that's
What you said ना शिव, what you said ना, एकदम वही चीज आपको देखो ऑप्शन डी में लिखा हुआ है. जीपीयू क्लस्टर्स, distributed training, language model, DLOCO, consumer devices. So then why not D?
so उसमें checkpointing नहीं लिखा because
But checkpointing, is it that important? Because we are mentioning, let's say,
I think checkpointing is important because DLOCO is created because of checkpointing and
okay,
distributed.
I will take it, and probably this is the answer also. This is the answer. I don't know. I need we don't have the answers, but most probably yes. मैंने भी B को ही टिक मारा हुआ है. एक मिनट, मेरे पास आंसर्स है, शायद आंसर्स है बट एक्सप्लेनेशंस नहीं है. आई हैव द आंसर्स. एक सेकंड, लेट मी जस्ट सी. Just a second. Sure. No, I don't have the answers. This is passage 2 and passage, passage Matri locality management and Shangri-La तो मैंने solve नहीं किया था. Passage 2 and 3. Unfortunately, I don't have the answers. I think B is the answer, but yeah, we can possibly let's agree on this. And I would obviously, you will go back to the passage, you will see the video solution also, so it's okay. ठीक है ना? Just remember that why we are eliminating D. Let's go to the next question. According to the passage, which of the following is not a challenge faced in traditional AI model training?
So I think C.
फिर से I don't know how you are picking up these things so quickly, but then I would really be interested in knowing why not the others.
So because like इसमें challenge GPUs because they have to synchronize and talk with each other, so that is a challenge. And giant clusters are expensive, so only billionaires are making them more than others. That is also a challenge. And data shuttling instead of productive, जो first passage में नंबर, that is all challenge. While
So A definitely is there. एकदम first para से कि your communication and synchronization is a challenge. The cost with building giant custom GPU clusters, but इसमें GPUs का AI model training से, am I nitpicking?
the GPUs compute and do all the data work, heavy work. उसमें I think उसका model is trained on this thing, data, and उसको processing करने के लिए that is a hardware use. That is the main purpose of GPU clusters.
ठीक है. According to the passage, and I'm taking your opinion also. According to the passage, the following is not a challenge faced in the traditional AI training model. I'll go back to the passage also, but before that, The GPUs must frequently communicate and synchronize is definitely a challenge. The costs associated with building giant uh, custom GPU clusters, again custom. So is this a challenge? It could be a challenge because it could be a challenge because the millionaire thing.
Because
Then
only bespoke clusters are being made
yeah,
currently.
the inability of the GPUs to generalize when training AI model. Actually, this inability is in the newer, the island method में generalization का problem था ना. For this, probably I can go back.
तो इसमें उन लोगों ने ये बोलता है कि the, the, that there might be the island method might be less efficient in exclusive task, but it is better in generalization. उन्होंने उल्टा बोला था. The island method is actually better.
Yeah. So third para, first line. Model trained this way might be less fine tuned for tasks that are specifically that they were explicitly trained on, but they often generalize better when confronted with new problems. And the inability of GPUs to generalize when training AI model. I think I am not Shiv. I will not lie to you. I will not lie to you. I'm not able to understand the meaning of this, but yeah, definitely this can be eliminated. Option D can definitely be eliminated for that reason. But I'm not able to make sense of the inability of the GPUs to generalize when training AI models.
I think they intentionally gave us a
Yes, 100%, 100%, and that is definitely one of those instances that मतलब possibility है कि जो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है उसका मतलब ऑप्शन से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, लेकिन जो 3 ऑप्शंस गलत हैं उसके लेना देना होगा. ये लोग, दिस इज वेरी बैड, दिस इज एक्चुअली वेरी बैड. एनीवेज, बट वी आर शिव, एक बार कहीं पे लिख लो ना अपने कॉपी में कि हम सीक्वेंस क्या हमने चूज किया है, जस्ट सो दैट व्हेन यू गो बैक you will have the references.
why I choose like the third one is that like इन लोगों ने बोला है कि these GPUs cannot generalize at all. Like इन्हें सीधे ये नहीं बोला कि they generalize a bit lesser, they're lesser in efficiency or they suffer some download or something. उन्हें they're not able to generalize at all. मुझको लगा कि that is a false statement since
Yeah, I understood that. But I mean, I would tell you that please keep the option somewhere just so that you can go back and verify. And obviously video solution dekh ke to you will learn also.
Yes.
And definitely read it. So let's read this one. Which of the following is not mentioned in the passage as a benefit of Deloco? This should be easy, I think.
So I think this the synchronization bottleneck.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
do one.
C.
You're saying C.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's do one thing. Let's not pick a option. Let's eliminate the others because that will help us understand what we are doing. Na? So option number 1, what is problem with option number 1?
So,
this is definitely one of the benefits of Deloco, reduction in the synchronization bottlenecks between GPUs. Basically, this is what they did. Na? कि 30 GPUs लिया था instead of 500. I think I remember the exact line also somewhere. कि Dwellard ने यहाँ पे कहीं पे ये जो 30 smaller GPU clusters, ठीक है? You were saying something, Shiv?
No, sir. I was just saying what you said.
So this is a benefit eliminated. Improved generalization of AI models when solving new problems.
Benefit.
Do we have improved generalizations?
Yes. So
how do you say that?
The first line of the last.
Yeah. That is very good. I am happy that you're actually not happy because क्योंकि मैंने इसको थोड़ा जोर लगा के बोला भी था, लेकिन I made a mistake over there. और mistake भी इसलिए because I did not come back to read it again. But they have given it exactly in the first line of the third para that they often generalize better when confronted with newer problems. So improved generalization of AI model when solving new problems is definitely a benefit of Diloco. So very good. Now I am left with only two options. So this is out, this is out. Significant reduction in costs and complexity for smaller labs. Now, Shiv, the problem that I have is that is it significant?
उसमें आई थिंक उसमें लिखा हुआ है उसमें दे हैव मेंशन्ड आई
हाँ
थिंक
हाँ मेंशन है कि कॉस्ट एंड कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी में कट्स होगा अगर आगे बढ़ाया जाए इस प्रोसेस को.
बट हाँ
इज इट
सिग्निफिकेंट
सिग्निफिकेंट और नॉट? हाँ मैं मानता हूं कि ये क्वेश्चन भी एक्चुअली इज इन लाइन विद द पैसेज, सो मे बी आई कैन एलिमिनेट इट. अच्छा, जब इस तरह का हम फंसे ना कहीं पे कि सिग्निफिकेंट वर्ड पे कितना सिग्निफिकेंस देना है अपने को, देन वी हैव टू नाउ बैलेंस द टू. वो होता है ना पैन बैलेंस, जो देखा होगा तुमने कि कौन सा वाला अप होगा, कौन सा वाला डाउन होगा. तो बेनिफिट्स की बात हो रही है कि विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज मेंशन्ड एज अ बेनिफिट ऑफ डिलोको. तो डेफिनेटली दिस कॉस्ट कटिंग एंड कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी वुड बी अ बेनिफिट.
तो वैसे आई थिंक इन दैट पैसेज दे हैव मेंशन्ड दैट benefits are immediate
हाँ,
since there's GPU clusters they are very expensive
और
so
उसने भी अगर आप देखो तो इमीडिएट बेनिफिट्स के बारे में नहीं पूछा है.
नहीं but I think the उनका सार ये है कि like maybe this because significant so this like
या
you stretch it that way so I think like directly to me but we can I guess draw the conclusion.
डेफिनेटली. सो अच्छा, एक बार हम लोग ऑप्शन सी को भी रीड कर लेते हैं. एलिमिनेशन ऑफ द नीड फॉर चेक पॉइंटिंग ड्यूरिंग ट्रेनिंग. आर वी टॉकिंग अबाउट एलिमिनेशन?
Reducing the checkpoints from one.
And also the fact that checkpointing is definitely there, but in the islands they don't do the checkpointing, basically, synchronization with one bot to the other with all the simultaneous 1000 GPUs. they are basically saying कि 30-35 अपना एक आइलैंड में जितने हैं वो आपस में चेक पॉइंटिंग करेंगे and then we will go to the next one. So elimination is definitely not a benefit of Diloco. So yes, this is a pick me kind of an answer. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding like that Jijo from VRC 1000, but it's actually true. Some of the options are going to be like that. The last one, I think this is going to be easy for us. Which of the following best captures the tone of the passage regarding the future of AI training?
Skeptical. Is it either between 1A or B, I think?
So, okay, let's eliminate B and C then. They're talking about enthusiastic advocacy for distributed and decentralized training methods. First thing, if they're enthusiastic or not, we'll come back at it. But advocacy is basically कहना कि हाँ ये होना चाहिए. उसने कहीं भी पैसेज में ये नहीं बोला कि ये होना चाहिए. उसने ये बोला है अगर ये होता है तो ये मतलब फ्यूचर में सोल्यूशन होगा. लेट्स गो बैक टू द पैसेज इफ वी नीड अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ क्लैरिफिकेशन. यहाँ पे उसने बोला है ना कि इफ इट कैचेज ऑन, आई थिंक इन द लास्ट कपल ऑफ लाइंस,
If the tricky engineering,
if the tricky engineering can be mastered, model might even improve learning from this and further synchronization. But before this, हाँ यहाँ पे ये देखो, yet Dewlett believes this approach will catch on. So he believes that it will catch on. Is he advocating for this that हाँ ये होने ही वाला है? I don't think so. So probably for that reason we could very well eliminate this one, option number B. Critical of the inefficiencies and cost of current AI training without offering. और भाई डिलो को बोलना ही तो alternative है, so out. Now, skeptical optimism about now the problem is between A and D. Which one will you pick? Now tell me which is your pick. I know in an exam condition you should leave this type of a scenario, but again this is an easy one, so I'll ask you if a gun is put to your head and you have to make a decision between A and D, which one will you go for?
I think D.
Definitely, and this is a mark of a good student, because the word itself ना skeptical optimism about the feasibility of decentralized. भाई feasibility के लिए ही तो हम लोग डिलोको को लेके आए हैं ना, that very island thing and all that is. And again, what feasibility? Optimism about the feasibility of decentralized training. So basically, what he's saying in the last few paras, if we recall, he's saying that if it catches on, this will be good for our, you know, let's say consumer-based devices में हम उसको use कर सकते हैं and all that. Let's read the last one. Cautiously hopeful about innovations. If it happens, then this and that. So yes, he is hopeful for the innovations that balance the efficiency and the scalability in the AI training. So I think this picture perfectly adds up to what could have been.
So I
Joe.
think the differentiator between A and D for me was that like that D was explaining the passage much better because वही था.
Yeah.
So otherwise, if you stretch it, तो मतलब A also can be included in the purview of a conclusion.
And also one more thing, we have not faced any skepticism from the author in the passage. The author was pretty much hopeful only. He was cautious that the current existing setups with the clusters of the GPUs may not need immediate eradication, but eventually maybe that will be a good idea for the newer people, the computer scientists and this and that and whatnot. So this was a very good passage and an easy one. I would say this one an easy one. Let's go for a tough one. ठीक है ना? मुझे नहीं लगता हम बहुत ज्यादा कर पाएंगे. But Shiv, just one question: are we enjoying this or not? Okay, quantitative aptitude में ज्यादा मजा आता है.
This is good for a change. Yes.
This is basically good for coming back to the basically tip of the toes. So let's go to the. ऐसा तो सारे कर लेना. Last passage is a very interesting one. So this is para 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 paras, and let me see if the questions. First question says, how does the author organize her story to show that Shangri-Laization serves a political agenda? So there is something called as a Shangri-Laization. And okay, Shangri-Laization is something that I need to understand. According to the passage, which factor primarily led to renaming of Gyalthang as Shangri-La city? So Gyalthang, Shangri-La city, Shangri-Laization. Interesting. Which of the policy change by the Chinese mentioned below would most directly address the author's concern? Now, this is a direct inference wala question, so we'll have to read the passage in its entirety. Otherwise, we cannot get. A Litang waitress, a Litang waitress pointed at a tourist in gaudy Tibetan costumes. So ugly, she whispered. The phrase so ugly has been used in the passage in the sense that. So again, this is a contextual understanding of this thing. So probably one of the passages which is probably could be difficult. I don't know. I mean, I'm saying it's a difficult one for a simple reason because it took me some time to read it and make sense of it. Otherwise, I don't think it's difficult. So Shiv, let's do one thing. We are not going to do the same thing that we did earlier. Para 1, para 2, para 3 and all that. Let's not do that. This is 11:50. Take 10 minutes. Okay. Read it. I'm sending you the screenshot of this so that you can read it at your comfort. I'm sending the screenshot of this in your WhatsApp. Just a second. एक सेकेंड. ये शैंग्रीला वाला कौन सा है? आई थिंक यही 4 होंगे लास्ट का. चेक कर लेता है. आई थिंक थोड़ा सा दिख रहा है, अच्छे से नहीं दिख रहा है. एक बार खाली शिव देख लो तो इज इट या फिर लेट मी डू वन थिंग. थोड़ा सा है वैसे इरिटेटिंग।
I can manage it.
छोड़ो ना, मैनेज करने की जरूरत नहीं है, इसी से पढ़ लो। 3 पैरास पढ़ो, आई विल कम बैक इन, लेट्स से इट्स 11:53 ना, लेट्स टेक 5 मिनट्स, यू कैन रीड इट। अच्छा, कैन यू, लेट्स से, कैन आई गिव यू द, ठीक है ऐसे ही कर लेता। इफ आई जूम आउट, if I zoom out, Shiv, just tell me one thing. If I zoom out, at your end, can you zoom in?
हाँ.
ठीक है. So then these are the 4 paras. There's nothing outside of this. This is 53, 54 almost. Let's take 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And I must tell you, 5-7 मिनट लगेगा पढ़ने में. ठीक है, तो 5-7 मिनट लेते हैं. We'll come back at 12 and then we'll discuss this. ठीक है.
Yes, sir. I will.
ठीक है. So initial impressions, what about this passage?
Basically, it discusses how tourism is being used to commodify Tibet or parts of it for Chinese tourists, and while efforts
Basically white labeling करने की कोशिश किया जा रहा है by the Chinese people into the
or
Tibet.
not not just I think no, I think what they're saying is that it's a lot of tourists are coming into tourists are coming into like Tibetan regions, and those kind of a Potemkin villages are being created, farce is being created in Tibet for tourism. Okay, this was a very ancient thing. Or for example, in the passage they say that mock nomad camps are being fox nomad false nomad camps are being used for photo ops and all these things. So one thing is that they want to promote tourism into Tibet for a lot of, for let's say, exchange. And
I want to know, again, this is a very difficult question, honestly speaking, but I want to know, when they talk about tourism, what type of tourism?
tourism which is commodified for the Chinese urbanites, like which gives a feeling of being in a pristine,
So the Westerners also.
not Westerners, only Chinese
That's
urbanites.
a very good. That's a very good inference that you have made, because while I was reading it, I thought constantly, for some reason, I don't know why, I was thinking, towards the end of the passage, you realize that why would the Westerners come, and what will they have to do with that Chinese princess and all that nonsense? So I could understand that the tourism is not actually the West for the Westerners. It's actually the inside Chinese, mainland Chinese people, that they want to project, or let's say, take from one place, or they want them to go to Tibet. Acha, while I was reading it, I could not make sense of it, because tourism, इंडियन सेंस में टूरिज्म थोड़ा अलग है ना, तो चाइनीज सेंस ऑफ टूरिज्म हमको नहीं पता है कि वो क्या, उनको, हालांकि आधी पॉपुलेशन दुनिया की, तो आधी नहीं बट एक सिग्निफिकेंट पॉपुलेशन तो दुनिया की वो भी लेके बैठे हैं, तो वो अपने देश में ही टूरिज्म करवा सकते हैं. बट या, all that mumbo jumbo basically boils down to the fact that there's a bit of a sugar coating in the words that the Chinese people are using for the Tibetans, and there is a white leavening also happening, and Shangri-La is a example of that. If I'm not mistaken, they have uh, basically morphed का मतलब है कि transformed into something. So the provincial town that once probably was called Gyalthang was morphed into Shangri-La. This is a very interesting passage. While I was reading it, now I had so many ideas that I was trying to understand. But then, अगर main idea देखना है, obviously main idea should not be more than, let's say, 10, 15 words, or maybe 20 words. So what would you say for the main idea that basically gives you some, that adds all the arguments of all the para? Maybe before that we can ask that what is the argument of the first para?
So arguing the first para is that in order to draw tourists to Tibet, China is investing, Chinese government is investing a lot of money, and basically molding Tibet in the image that Chinese want it to be, commodifying it.
Yeah, so that's a very good uh, understatement that I can say. द वर्ड, एक वर्ड से अगर मेरे को पहला पैराग्राफ डिफाइन करना हो, तो वो शैंग्रिलाइजेशन शुड बी द वर्ड. ये शैंग्रिलाइजेशन हो रहा है तिब्बत में, विच इज बेसिकली द कमोडिफाइंग ऑफ द तिब्बतन स्टफ. अब वो कहाँ से शुरू हुआ? लॉस्ट हॉराइजन नाम का एक नॉवेल और फलाना ठिकाना, ये सब हमारा किसी काम का नहीं है. तिब्बत वाज अ टाइमलेस यूटोपिया, किसी काम का नहीं है. बट द ओनली थिंग इज दैट शैंग्रिलाइजेशन हो रहा है तिब्बत में, और एक पेस से हो रहा है. इस सैंग्रिलाइजेशन का पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव क्या है वो लास्ट लाइन ऑफ द फर्स्ट पैरा टेल्स अस कि कुछ लोग ये भी सोच सकते हैं कि तिब्बत की भलाई के लिए हो रहा होगा, लेकिन जो a bus stop proclaims Xi Jinping's slogan, clear waters and green mountains are mountains of gold and silver. So that basically tells something about the author and what he thinks about the Chinese in general. That, you know, he can see through what is going on in Tibet by the Chinese. So the first para, we have understood the argument. What about the next para?
So next para, basically next para expounds on that how the young Chinese from working urbanites, they find Tibet as a escape from their ruling life, and
Yeah. Acha, Shiv, just I mean, obviously this is not a PowerPoint this thing, but I will try to, as I have learned these things, so I will try to do. Basically, मैं just highlight करना चाहता हूँ कि जो important point मुझे लगता है. So just tell me in the second para, which lines do you think are important? Because I'll tell you why. In your mind, as we were doing in the last, maybe in the, let's say in the last this thing, we were actually eliminating some unnecessary line that, you know, the let's say the novel and all that, है ना? Novel, utopia, these are the things that we can eliminate. Again, you know, after the center burned in 2014 and they built it with cobblestone alleys, ancient looking stupas and statues of traditional poses, is not very important. What maybe in the first para itself was that, you know, there is something the Chinese are doing, and that something is sacralization in Tibet. The culture is commodified for Chinese needs, so probably this is enough. Everything else is not that important. So I want something like that for the next para. Please take 30 seconds, 1 minute. We are not in a haste. हमको कोई गाड़ी नहीं पकड़ना है, आराम से करते हैं.
so the first line का जो Tibet model, this model is being spread across Tibet.
हाँ, and
And
मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि Tibet
and
turning the region into a theme park for China.
sir, and I think nearly all tourists are Chinese.
हाँ,
Then
this is a very good line. ये मैंने नहीं देखा था जब मैं पढ़ रहा था passage. I have not seen this. Foreign entry is restricted. Actually, it is not even restricted. It is to some extent prohibited also. And I think in the last para we can read about it. Yeah.
then that Tibetan Buddhism or Tibetan culture fill vacuum in the second last line.
Yeah. So you say that the second last line in Tao Cheng.
No, this sir, the above third last.
Acha. Droloma, Tibetan girl, carefree.
Many Tibetan Buddhism will spiritual by feeding ideology, communist ideology.
Okay, so many Han expect Tibetan Buddhism to fill the spiritual vacuum left.
Because they're saying that the Han people of Han ethnicity are coming more, I guess, and work stress drove them.
But hey, hold on, एक second, hold on.
Work stress.
Many Han expect Tibetan Buddhism to fill the spiritual vacuum left by the fading communist ideology, and that is why they might visit Tibet.
They likely a lot of them visit because of that, because they find it exquisite or different or something which do not experience back home where they live.
I could not understand what this line said. Learning Thangka painting in glitters and a Tibetan robes, sometimes I just want to be someone else, she said. So basically, बेसिकली वही है कि जब आप बोर हो चुके हो अपने लाइफ से, वो आपको वो नौटंकी करना है, स्पिरिचुअल मम्बो जम्बो करना है, इसीलिए आप तिब्बत जा रहे हो, बिकॉज यू आर डन विद द, बेसिकली यू आर bored with the
Burnout.
fading communist ideology.
In a way, and then work stress, I think.
Or maybe the word could be a spiritual recharge.
And I think work stress is another keyword. बस उतना ही होगा. Work stress drove them to visit monks for clarity.
Tibetan people are so pure, he said. So basically, again, I mean, I don't need to underline it. It's just we have gotten what we needed to get. So yes, okay. The third one. Acha, one more thing, Shiv. We will not have the luxury of using a pen tool in the. I wish we had. ठीक है, शायद in the next 10 years they will be kind enough to provide us with a pen tab or something like that. But we don't have the luxury of this thing in the current setup. So what we can do is, na, don't try to paraphrase, don't try to understand and write it in your own terms. No, this is not a essay writing competition. When you're paraphrasing, write the same paras but reduce the context. But the, I mean, it should contextually be sound and logically be, there, whatever is there. Anyways, let's go to the third one. First line is definitely important. There is a deeper political agenda. Officially, though, China pledges to protect the Tibet's heritage, but in practice, Tibetan land, language, and culture face erasure. Okay, Tibetan land, language, and this thing is facing. I don't even need to write this thing, but I know that this is exactly where the author was going from the first moment he started. Nomads are resettled. Tibetan children attend Chinese boarding school. Monasteries teach Sinicized Buddhism. Cultural advocates risks arrest. In Lhasa, Tibetan locals residency needs a special permit to enter the city, and checkpoints frequently scan ID for weapon. This is again not important for us. Achha, a state-sponsored musical about Princess Wencheng, probably a princess of this Tibet, promoted as Lhasa's must-see, claims she introduced civilization to Tibet, legitimizing Beijing's rule. While reading this, and while you are, you could understand one thing very clearly. There are so many ideas that are there in this passage. So in one line, if I need to rephrase it, basically China's official motto is definitely not what they are projecting. So maybe while reading it and also trying to rephrase, maybe I can find something. So मतलब पत्थर पे लिखा लकीर नहीं है कि अपने words में नहीं लिख सकते. Last one. What do we mean by self-immolated?
They burn themselves.
Immolated.
Burning themselves.
And even if I don't know that, or maybe causing some harm, in 22, Sewang Norbu set himself on fire near the Potla Palace crying "Free Tibet." So we know that there is a harsh surveillance, but protests persists. Official planning documents say tourism must advance Xi Jinping's thought and promote ethnic unity. Authorities push the idea that Tibetans are grateful member of a unified Chinese nation with a shared future. Tourism is meant to stabilize Tibet by steering locals away from traditional livelihoods. Some benefit from the boom, but resent the intrusion. Okay, so the Tibetan people resent the intrusion, and that is when Litang waitress pointed to a tourist in gaudy costumes. So ugly, she whispered. So probably she the waitress can see through the tourists that basically it is just a humbug. Basically, it is just it's not reality. What they are doing is just a fake propagation of the Chinese this thing. So this is a heavy, this is a heavy one. और मैं लिख के दे सकता हूँ probably ये वो पैसेज होगा जो हमसे सॉल्व भी नहीं होगा टाइम पे, because this is heavy. But ये वैसे पैसेजेस हैं जिनको आपको डेफिनेटली आपको सॉल्व करना चाहिए. मतलब when you have the time, because they will teach you many things.
Yes.
और आपका eventually वो अच्छा भी हो जाएगा reading comprehension. Okay, let's go to the this thing. Questions. Before that, Shiv, do you want to? Oh, hold on. Before that, do you want to take a screenshot or whatever? If you want to write something, do
No,
you want
sir.
to do? Take it because I will. Uh, I don't need to erase. Let's read the first one. How does the author organize her story to show that Shanghaization serves the political agenda?
Either B or C. I think B होगा sir.
Shiv, I am not that smart that and also I don't have the answers. So I cannot just look at option B and say, okay, this has to be. I need elimination of others, preferably. So
Mhm.
please tell me why it cannot be A.
So because the argument is that Shanghaization and Tibet का जो भी tourism है, that is not a positive. It is actually not a positive thing, but a sinister agenda.
Yeah.
So A is not in line with that, and D is like although that is true that local.
Basically, it's a very good thing. Hold on. It's a very good thing that you said. It's not a very positive thing that she is trying to highlight. So she's not highlighting how tourism is used to transform the economy and cultural exchanges. So this is too positive, probably. So for that reason, I'm eliminating.
Hmm.
Option B says by explaining how commodification of Tibet conceals efforts to erase its traditional identity. Are they trying to erase the traditional identity? Probably that is one of the goals. But she's explaining the commodification of Tibet is actually, in an effort to erase the traditional identity. I don't think so. Maybe I would like to keep it. I'll come back at it. Let's read the third one. By describing the effects of Sinicized Buddhism and Beijing's investment in, again, Sinicized Buddhism has got nothing to do with the centralization and political agenda, goes out of the picture. Okay. So by highlighting local resentment and instances of Tibetan rejecting external cultural influences, I think B has to be my answer. I don't know. I could be wrong.
The B because Shanghaization has more to do with commodification of Tibet by
Tibet.
uh, Chinese
and
tourists.
and although then the girl, rather the author, is not explicitly saying that these guys are trying to erase the traditional identity, but whatever they are doing, sending the kids to boarding school, resettling the nomads and all those things, that will eventually erase the traditional identity. So how she's organizing probably is definitely by showing the or explaining the commodification of Tibet that conceals the efforts to erase the tradition. Definitely B has to be our answer.
So commodification directly doesn't lead to it, but other steps को वो hide करता है basically. I think that is the main argument.
But that is effectively what they are doing ना, the Chinese people. तिब्बत को commodify ही तो कर रहे हैं,
Uh,
वहां पे tourism ला रहे हैं, हर चीज.
I think what she's conveying is that commodification is just a farce, and they
Yes, 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 absolutely.
pretend they are doing all this thing.
So definitely for that reason we can pick. So I'm glad that we are having this discussion. I don't know how people explain answers. Yeah, or maybe I am stupid. The VRC faculty is explaining the answers as very intelligent fellows. I don't know how they do it, but I never understood the answers. ठीक है, answers are there, but then you have to I don't know. According to the passage, which factor primarily led to the renaming of Gyalthang as Shangri-La city? I think that has to do something with that novel, but we can go back. But before that, before reading the passage, I would definitely say which factor primarily led to renaming of Gyalthang as Shangri-La city. Let's go back and have a shadow answer, and then probably let's look at this options. Shiv, I think I have a shadow answer. ये जो शैंग्रीलाइजेशन है ये नॉवेल से ही आया है, और ये नॉवेल भी चाइनीज पीपल ने ही लिखा होगा, क्योंकि दे आर ट्राइंग टू पोर्ट्रे तिब्बत एज अ टाइमलेस यूटोपिया, but the actual fact is a little different from what has been portrayed. A fox, or four, maybe a four old town was built on the cobblestone alleys, ancient looking stupas and all that. Basically a rebranding of the Tibetan this thing happened after they have burned the original center. So I don't know if you have seen there was a very interesting movie by Brad Pitt. I don't know the name of that movie, but there they have actually taken the, this idea of how the Chinese people were actually attacking the Tibetan people, and how the Lama have dislocated from there.
I think there was 7 months or 7 as a kuch tha.
Yeah, 7 something like that. Yeah.
7 years in Tibet. I think that was the name.
कुछ बड़ा मस्त था.
7 years in Tibet, right?
Yeah, this was a very interesting, and I'm I'm glad you've seen that movie. So yeah. That Lama culture, these Chinese, I think we had a discussion on this also. The Lama culture, the Chinese don't agree to. They say, maybe it's a high priest or something, but we will not take word by word. So let's go back to the options, Shiv. This is a good one, and the options are also very interesting.
I think it is between B or D.
Okay, so we have close options. Let's now check why we can eliminate A. Let's see why.
The C
So
बिल्कुल उसका premise ही लगता है.
the desire to modernize Galthang and attract global tourists to the area. Yes, global tourist is definitely not something. Because of that, probably I can eliminate. And I'm hoping that you have also picked that one. They in no ways want to attract global tourists into the area. Let's eliminate A. The historical and cultural significance of Tibetan region described in the Lost Horizon. It's actually there in the novel. It's actually there in the novel. मतलब novel में there is a paradise, timeless utopia. So there is something like that they are saying.
So, but like but a novel itself is not the reason, right? Like the rebranding, it takes inspiration from the novel, but novel itself is not the reason for the rebranding. I think that is a big thing.
I'm not denying what you are saying, but I'm a little confused. So I'm just coming back. So in the second line, if you can see my pointer, inspired by Shangri-La tourism zone in northern Yunnan, it references a Tibetan border after 33, the Lost Horizon, which idolized Tibet as a timeless utopia.
So what I mean is that the path of civilization is like.
Shiv, just read this, not tourist paradise. Over the last decade, Shangri-La morphed into from a neglected provincial town called Gyalthang to a tourist paradise. After the original city, so initially it was a neglected city. Now it is a tourist paradise. Oh, the Chinese people are so good. They're great people. They have, created this thing, tourist paradise, built cobblestone alleys, looking at ancient looking stupas and all that. Probably this could give me the answer that I'm looking at. That neglected provincial town transformed or morphed into a tourist paradise. So now let's try and understand that if we can find that in B and D. So B is definitely out. D could be my answer. B is definitely out. What is a utopian tourism model? उटोपियन टूरिज्म मॉडल से बीजिंग का तो कोई लेना देना नहीं है। वो उटोपियन टूरिस्ट मॉडल बने ना बने, उसका पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू तो ये है कि भाई बीजिंग के ऑब्जेक्टिव सामने आने चाहिए।
In tourism model, I think by that they mean Shanghaization. No, no. Shanghaization is commodification of
हाँ, so what are you saying?
aligning it to its objective. The ideals of Gyalthang. It is a very close thing. Like D is also correct, but B.
Yeah, it is definitely correct, but
They,
I,
what they I think they mean is that they want to make a Tibetan tourist utopia where the model is that of selling it as some
no, but there is a deep state
model.
yeah, there's a deep state idea related to Tibet. And when we look at the question, now let's read the question again. Which factor primarily led to the renaming of Gyalthang to Shangri-La city? So yeah, it could be the Lost Horizon also. Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
सब मेरे दिमाग में मतलब वैसे तो मैं I think it might be deep, पर ये भी आ रहा है कि the renaming itself मतलब बाद में ये लोग बोलते हैं कि हाँ वो रीनेमिंग का तो मेन पर्पस था उसको एक टूरिज्म बनाने का, लाइक दैट्स स्पेसिफिक थिंग मुझे आ रहा है कि डी तो है ही, बट बी का भी एक अलग बोल सकते हैं वो।
So basically, now let's eliminate. Okay, let's eliminate desire to modernize, and this is definitely out. Historical and cultural significance of the Tibetan region described in the laws. I don't think renaming of a city would be based on a novel. So this is too kiddish. That renaming of Gyalthang to Shangri-La city couldn't be, because the Chinese people are not doing this for a novel or anything. They have a deep state policy behind that also. That eradication of the Tibetan this thing, and basically encapsulating the region, the Tibetan region, slowly and steadily. एथनिक क्लेंजिंग भी हो रहा है। एथनिक क्लेंजिंग उन्होंने वर्ड यूज नहीं किया है, बट कुछ एथनिक क्लेंजिंग हो रहा है, क्योंकि जो वहां के जो नेटिव किड्स हैं उनको बोर्डिंग स्कूल में चाइना में भेज रहे हैं। सो डेफिनेटली देयर इज समथिंग हैपनिंग इन तिब्बत। So with that logic, I think I can get rid of this one. Now, a deliberate attempt to align the region with the ideals of utopian tourism model. I'm just not happy with this utopian tourism model. I would be picking this one. I would be picking this one if a gun is put to my head. Otherwise, this is a good one to be left alone. I must say at this point that please leave some questions also. Because इतना close option अगर है कि एकदम, but if a gun is put to my head, I'll probably pick D. I
also think D might be the answer.
B or D? B for Bangalore or D for Denmark?
D last, fourth option.
Okay. ठीक है, चेक कर लेंगे बाद में, अभी तो आंसर्स है नहीं अपने पास. We'll look at it. Let's go to the next one. But this was a difficult one, and again I'm telling you that in an exam setup, I will leave this question. Okay. This is a very interesting question. Shiv, एक बार, if we have the time, can we rewind? What is the author's concern?
That is erasure
Yeah.
of culture and identity.
Yeah. Slowly and steadily, and eventually it will happen, because वो जो princess का उन्होंने वो करवाया, वो program करवाया, और उससे ये कह रहे हैं कि हाँ, Chinese people are actually looking at us, they're very, they're helping us and all that. So eventually eradication होना तय है, according to the author, and that is the concern. So which of the following policy change by the Chinese mentioned below would most directly address the concern?
a B, I think, because uh, if they get more autonomy and lesser surveillance, that
Hold on, give me 1 second. You were saying B for Bangalore or D for Denmark?
so I B second option.
Acha, B. For some reason, I am also, I think it could be D also. Restricting the access to Tibet further to ensure its heritage remains undisturbed by external influences. और ये जो external influence है ये Chinese influence ही है.
But
So if
like like but the implication of this the last argument is that point is that tourists are the main problem. Like tourists, but the actual problem, like not that is that Shanghaiization or tourism is being used to hide the fact that they're erasing culture or they're erasing identity with state policy. I think that is the main problem. जैसे कि जो ऊपर देखिए Sinicized boarding schools if a Tibetan who's not a resident of Tibet, if he wants to enter, he has to take a permit. And all those government programs which the government is doing, not tourist per se. Like, I think that way I looked at that. Like, अगर
but
ये
हाँ,
they continue programs, uh, since it is more centralized in that sense, so it wouldn't make that big of a difference.
okay. The author's concern is definitely the erasure of the Tibetan culture, eventual erasure. And if we reduce the surveillance and we grant greater autonomy to the Tibetan cultural advocates, that can give address the concern that these. So C is definitely out. C is definitely out. Preservation of the culture through government-led tourism initiative. So C is definitely out. Um, Increasing the number of Chinese tourists to Tibet to boost economic and local. भाई यही तो problem है. So A is also out. Reducing surveillance for and granting greater autonomy to Tibetan cultural advocates. But Shiv, just think about this. The princess not a Tibetan cultural advocate? वो प्रिंसेस जो उन्होंने बोला था, जो भी यहाँ पे उनका नाम था, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर द नेम, यू नो द
So, but I think जो इनने ये बताया था कि
हाँ ये फोर्थ पैरा सेकंड लास्ट प्रिंसेस वेनचैंग, ये भी तो एक तरह की एक्टिविस्ट ही है और मतलब वहाँ की हाँ शी
इसमें I think what they are saying is that one drama or a musical, the
हाँ
China is behind or the organization of that, where the
yeah
figure that
yeah
is figure of Prince and Wencheng. Basically, they're trying to create a foundation in between one China,
हाँ
which actually every nation does. But in Chinese Tibetan context, they are saying that state-led policy is making this happen.
मतलब इफ आई एम अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट यू आर ट्राइंग टू से कि बोल भले वेंचेंग प्रिंसेस वेंचेंग रही है बट बुलवा रहे हैं चाइनीज, सो शी इज नॉट ऑटोनोमस इन दैट सेंस.
So I think Wencheng Princess is just a cultural figure, I guess. Cultural figure or cultural some part of their.
हाँ
So basically, that is using art to.
हाँ okay 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 yeah understood yeah understood. I thought basically this is some people. No, this is basically about वेंचेंग princess. Yeah, basically कोई past की रही होगी princess उसका ऊपर a musical that was.
So what I think is that like the main concern is the quality or the how the policies are being used. If policy changes, Tibet will
Oh, okay. Hold on. a political effort to reshape Tibet's image and align with its Beijing objective के साथ अगर align करेगा तो भाई, is this the same question? No, this is
Next.
not the same. Yeah, sorry, we.
That-
Oh, was it the same question?
No, sir. Uh, it was next question. This was the second question.
Oh,
We are doing the next.
this one क्या? हाँ यही था यही वाला था ना? How does the author organize this? No, this is the first one. हाँ ये है second question. Which factor primarily led to the renaming of girl? No, we did this also.
Let's do 11 to I think 19. 19.
So the fourth one, restricting access to Tibet further to ensure its heritage distributed by external influences, reducing surveillance and granting greater autonomy to Tibetan cultural advocates. I think B. Yeah, when I measure it, the B option number B for Bangalore, when I measure option B with the arguments that you told me, I think B actually makes sense, because restricting the access to Tibet further to ensure the heritage remain undistributed by external influences will not address the author's concern. The author's concerns are actually that there is a deep state definitely involved, but the tourists are also problem. It's not just the Beijing, the China that is problem. The tourists are also problem, because one way or the other they are let's say they're eradicating the cultural diversity. I mean, not the diversity, the cultural monoism. So maybe I think B will be my answer. Again, I would leave this question. I'll touch wood, I'm saying this is something that I am not happy with. I will leave this question in an exam condition.
Yes, sir.
Last, I think this is the last one. Hold on. This is the last one. Oh, this is the easy one, I guess, for us. A Laitang waitress pointed at a tourist in gaudy Tibetan costumes. So ugly, she whispered. The phrase so ugly has been used in the passage in a sense that is. So option number one is definitely not my answer. It's not literal. Okay, I'm not even reading the other part of it, but it's not literal. So ugly. So definitely she's not again, we are not that dumb. A is definitely out. Maybe B is something I would like to keep. Then C, ironic, mocking the superficial attempt of tourists to replicate Tibetan culture while failing to respect its essence. Could be C. I don't know. Could be C at this point. Figurative, using a synecdoche. ये anecdote है क्या?
So basically, basically this is a figure of speech. For example, when someone says that, I need your hand. No, not your hand. Like
not the hand, but the help.
But hand का मतलब है कि हाँ, you need to be physically present there, right?
Yeah.
Some small part is used to convey a larger thing. That is a figure of speech.
Yeah, figurative, using this thing to critique the broader phenomenon of cultural commodification. Acha, Shiv, we need to understand one thing. The Laitang waitress pointed at a tourist in gaudy Tibetan costumes. It is not just the tourist in gaudy Tibetan costumes. So maybe the broader phenomena of cultural commodification. Between D, ironic, mocking the superficial attempt of tourists to replicate Tibetan culture while failing to respect the essence. No, not C. C is out. So respecting the essence definitely is not something. Respect is not there. It could be something else. Maybe disapproval. So maybe B and D, again B and D. What is your pick?
Disapproval.
I think D can be the answer.
Honest, B, C, and D, all three can be the answer, but I think the best which encapsulates the what they're saying is D, I guess. That they are saying
Second one,
D.
fourth one.
That they are saying that cultural and the commodification and all that things.
So last line says authorities push the idea that Tibetans are grateful member of a unified Chinese nation. Tourism is meant to stabilize by steering locals from traditional livelihood to some benefits from the boon, but many resent the intrusion. But many resent the intrusion.
Hmm.
I think B will work. The second one. कल्चरल कोमोडिफिकेशन का इंट्रूशन से यहाँ पे कोई सेंस तो बन नहीं रहा है
Hmm.
और जो तिब्बतन कल्चर ये वाला थर्ड वन है mocking a superficial attempt of the tourist to replicate Tibetan culture while failing to respect the essence. I don't think that they are.
In that passage, that was उसका ये था कि हाँ, they are not that happy with tourists coming, I guess.
हाँ, so intrusion से प्रॉब्लम है बट ऐसा नहीं कि जो टूरिस्ट है दे आर डिसरेस्पेक्टिंग द कल्चर इन एनी विच वे वैसे भी अगर वो डिसरेस्पेक्ट कर रहा होता तो कॉस्ट्यूम क्यों पहनता गॉडी कॉस्ट्यूम और टिबेटन कॉस्ट्यूम I am confused with this. I would probably leave this also, but then for the time being, I probably would go for B.
Yes, sir.
Probably B. I am not sure. B for Bangalore. What about you, Shiv?
So it is either B or D. Why I'm saying D is because in the first para they said that, and I think the first and second para they also gave that uh, adopting cultural that people are learning that Thangka painting and all doing all those things, and that is a part of a broader strategy. That is a part of a broader strategy of cultural commodification, standardization. I think that. So that is also coming to my mind.
Yeah. So I think with that, I think final pick is mine is B and yours is the second one, the fourth one.
Fourth one.
The fourth one. The ठीक है, let's agree to disagree, but I would still say कि इन्होंने इनका थोड़ा देख लेते हैं, इन्होंने C कैटेगरी में इसको डाला है. 52% of the toppers are attempting it with less accuracy, 33%. So that means this is not that good. Very less people are attempting it, 25% overall. Accuracy is even poorer. But एक अच्छी बात है जो लोगों का मतलब बहुत ही कम टाइम दे रहे हैं. That means 26 सेकंड for this question basically means a very interesting thing. लोग पढ़ ही नहीं रहे हैं इस पैसेज को. इस क्वेश्चन तक कोई पहुंच ही नहीं पा रहा है. That is 26 seconds. So maybe
that is because उसका this is 28th question.
हाँ. Again, I mean, I would be very happy if you leave such questions in an exam setup. But after the exam is over, maybe learn what the faculties are teaching you. So maybe that is something that we can do. Let's do. I mean, I'm not happy. I would want to look at the solution. So just give me 1 second. I'll log into the ID. एक सेकंड मेरे को दे दो बस. I'll
So वैसे have you seen that like talking about that movie 7 years in Tibet?
हाँ बहुत, लेकिन मैं मुझे एग्जैक्टली प्लॉट्स भी याद नहीं है. बहुत पुराने में देखा था.
That was, to be honest, अगर जैसे कि since we are reading this passage, so all Chinese tourists are going in Tibet, right? मतलब that film is also made with the same mentality of fetishizing that culture. Like तो वो लोग तो ऑफेंड हो जाएंगे, पर हाँ मतलब वो लोग भी गोरे लोग वहाँ पे जगह देखो कैसे दे आर एक्सपीरियंसिंग न्यू कल्चर, दे आर वेयरिंग देयर क्लोथ्स, दे आर like like for someone who is not used to his surroundings, that is a different thing, I guess.
Yeah. So let's go to 17. Yeah. Okay, so can we just quickly uh, come to the which was the first? I mean, what was our preference for this one?
Uh, but, so I think beat has
Commodification considers the effort to raise or additional unity. Let's see. Yeah, so that's the answer. According to the passage, which factor primarily led to renaming of Galthang as Shangri-La city?
D. We had chosen D for this, I guess.
Okay, political effort to reshape the Tibet's image and align with. It was D, na? Fourth one.
Yeah.
No, a deliberate attempt to align. अरे ये कैसे हो सकता है भाई? Deliberate attempt to align the region with the ideals of a utopian tourism model. या मे बी ऐसा पता नहीं भाई. मतलब दिस इज टू ऑब्वियस. हमने इस ऑप्शन को इसलिए लीव करा बिकॉज दिस वाज टू ऑब्वियस. वो नॉवेल वाला तो वहीं से निकल के आया है.
इसमें ये भी लिखा हुआ है कि over the last decade, Shangri-La city moved from neglected provincial
हाँ, यहाँ पे कहीं पे लिखा है.
into a tourist paradise. So I think that is what they mean, utopian tourist paradise.
There's a possibility for that. आई थिंक इसी से अगर हम लोग करते तो अच्छा होता. वो बुक से करने से मतलब वो पीडीएफ से करने.
The first paragraph after the original sentence going down.
द फर्स्ट वन.
हाँ, over the last decade. उसमें आप देखेंगे तो उसमें टूरिस्ट पैराडाइज लिखा हुआ है इसका.
हाँ है. और वो हमने पढ़ा भी था. डिलीवर. ठीक है. लेट्स मतलब ठीक है. आई एम नॉट. Which policy change by the Chinese mentioned below would most directly? इसका तो हमने आंसर दिया था ना. This was B. That
B.
we
Second
B.
option.
हाँ. So yeah, that's correct. And the last one, we were a little bit of a problem. So you said it was fourth one. I said it could be second one or fourth one. I'm not sure. So I probably would leave this for the. But then again, if we need to pick something using a anecdote or whatever to critique the broader phenomenon of cultural commodification. ठीक है. Let's see. It's D. Using the. एक तो मेरे को ये वर्ड ही नहीं आता है कि ये सिनेक्डोश का मतलब क्या होता है. यूजिंग सिनेक्डोश to critique. But again, figurative, hyperbolic, exaggerating the locals. Maybe na I could have been a little smart. And seen this exaggerating. The girl was not exaggerating.
मुझे वो लग रहा था.
Exaggerating is not a good word. So probably with this I could have eliminated. But again, I disapproval for tourists' dramatic effect. And again, the tourists were not doing any drama. Figurative to critique the broader phenomena of cultural commodification. Yeah, actually, if you ignore this, na, or maybe at least ignore this much, it doesn't change anything. Figurative to critique the broader phenomena of cultural commodification. So, yeah. Again, I'm not.
Maybe the crux is that Tibetan culture is being used.
इसने देखो आंसर में भी लिखा. There is no exaggeration or dramatic intent for the remark. That is a succinct and direct critique. Last में इन्होंने कुछ explain भी किया है. Synecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part of something is used to represent the whole. Oh, vice versa. Metonymy and is commonly used in both everyday language and literary constant and impactful expression. Create imagery, emotion, highlighting a particular effort. Synecdoche can evoke stronger imagery or emotion.
So, for example, like Synecdoche as I can remember. So, like you people in colloquial language, they
Hmm.
describe a fast car as,
Hmm.
let's say, fast wheels, right?
Hmm.
So the the characteristic for the car, that the wheels can represent number of speed, figuratively the whole car. I
Hmm.
think that is the idea behind this key. The uh, in this case, the dress tourists are wearing, they represent the whole phenomena which they are facing.
Yep. Okay, I think we should let's just say we keep it at this.
Yes,
There are
sir.
two more passages. There are two more passages. I would ask you please do them.
Yes,
ठीक है,
sir.
कल कर लेना अगर टाइम मिलेगा तो, और वीडियो सॉल्यूशन भी देख लेना, क्योंकि जो मैम या सर बताते हैं, सर से ज्यादा जो मैम, दो टीचर ही है, एक तो आई थिंक कुमुद मैम है और एक मैं नाम भूल गया उनका, बट हाँ जो भी है, वो लोग जो एक्सप्लेन करते हैं अच्छा एक्सप्लेन करते हैं, तो या जस्ट लुक एट इट। मुझे खुद भी थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेनेशन इसका देखने में इंटरेस्ट है, क्योंकि लास्ट पार्ट का, जैसे ना शिव, आई डेंट वांटेड टू लाइक ब्रैग माई सेल्फ कि यार मैं सोल्यूशन भी देख के आया हूँ, क्वेश्चन मैंने पढ़ा था, मैंने
Hmm.
थोड़ा सा पैसेजेस पढ़े थे, क्योंकि आई नीडेड टू नो इफ आई कैन मैन्यूवर थ्रू इट, but I did not see the solutions or the anything, because I wanted to make it a impromptu this thing for this class. But I think we took away something, and what we took away is that something we need to now focus on for the next two couple of months, not the next 2 months. We need to be at a habit of where we can read something for the 2 hours without फेसिंग टू मच प्रॉब्लम। हम लोग ये वाले सेशंस करते रहेंगे अगर आपको कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, क्योंकि बैठ के 2 घंटा स्क्रीन में पढ़ते रहना भी एक हैबिट है जो डेवलप करना है हमको। आई होप दैट मेक सेंस। ठीक
Yes.
है, अब उसमें भले एक आरसी हो या 2 आरसी हो, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, वो तो जब टेस्ट लिखोगे तब ज्यादा होगा ही, बट
Yes, sir.
ठीक है। शिव, गुड नाइट।
Yes, sir.